The conflict in Gaza continues.
We do think it creates space for agreement to be reached.
Following a rejection offer from the Israeli Prime Minister. It's all eyes on one state.
Take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength.
Ruling if former President Trump will receive votes for the upcoming election. The Heat facing off.
I've learned not to give up on them.
Against one of the NBA's brightest young stars. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Laura Palfrey.
I'm Kenneth Bueno. Today is Thursday, February 8th, 2024.
Live from the Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Supreme attention in front of the nation's highest court as people began lining up before dawn today for a case involving former President Trump. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court will be testing Section 3 of the Constitution's 14th Amendment.
As CNN Emily Schmidt reports, it involves a challenge from the state of Colorado.
On Thursday, Section 3 of the Constitution's 14th Amendment, passed after the Civil War, will get a modern-day test at the U.S. Supreme Court.
Walk down to the Capitol.
Because of what happened in Washington, D.C., January 6th, 2021.
You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength.
Then President Donald Trump didn't actually go to the Capitol, but thousands did, disrupting Congress as it certified Joe Biden as the winner of the 2020 presidential election. Trump has denied wrongdoing, but last September, a watchdog group filed a lawsuit on behalf of 6 Colorado voters seeking to disqualify him from this year's race.
Trump engaged in insurrection and therefore cannot appear on the ballot.
The Colorado Supreme Court agreed and ruled 4-3 in December that the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban, which bans office holders who engage in insurrection from holding office again, applies to Donald Trump, which they concluded means he shouldn't be on Colorado's ballot. Trump and his legal team disagree, arguing that there's no legal basis and that there would be, quote, chaos and bedlam if Trump is blocked from the ballot. 3 of the justices on the supermajority conservative court were appointed by Trump. Trump is not expected to be at the Supreme Court when all of the justices consider the question of his ballot eligibility. In Washington, I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
The Florida Supreme Court is still undecided today after hearing arguments on abortion. Yesterday, the court disputed whether a proposed constitutional amendment safeguarding abortion rights meets the criteria for inclusion on the November ballot. They're also deciding on a case involving the state's 6-week abortion ban approved by the legislature last year. The court has until April 1st to decide on the issue.
Missing bolts are to blame for the Boeing 737 MAX 9 incident. Caplin News reporter Victoria Fonseca has more on the federal investigation.
Of course, something like this can happen again.
Chilling words for any potential air travelers from the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board.
There is no way that this plane should have been delivered with 4 safety-critical bolts missing.
Jennifer Homendy is referring to the Boeing-made 737 MAX 9 that suffered a traumatic door plug blowout during an Alaska Airlines flight last month. The NTSB said in their preliminary report Tuesday that 4 key bolts were missing.
By design, if the bolts are there, it prevents the door from translating upwards and disengaging from the stop fittings and flying off the plane.
The NTSB traced the missing bolts to Boeing's Washington State plant, where the plug was removed to make repairs before the jet was delivered to Alaska Airlines.
In order to remove the door plug, they had to remove the bolts, and they weren't put back in.
To find out why, they've requested process documentation from Boeing.
We're still waiting on that documentation, if it exists.
The search for answers is also reaching beyond Boeing.
We're also digging into FAA's oversight of Boeing.
Boeing's CEO said that whatever the results of the investigation, Boeing accepts responsibility for what happened. As for safety, Homendy says passengers can fly with confidence.
I would have no problem tomorrow taking a flight on a MAX 9.
Victoria Fonseca reporting for Caplin News.
As the conflict still goes on between Israel and Hamas, the Israeli Prime Minister has rejected an offer for a hostage deal and ceasefire within Gaza. As CNN's Michael Yoshida reports, this rejection occurred due to increased pressure from the U.S. and the international community to end the war.
As the conflict in Gaza wages on, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Israel Wednesday, pressing leaders for a humanitarian pause in the Israel-Hamas war. Blinken's visit happening as Hamas has presented a counteroffer to a hostage and truce framework aimed at the release of hostages in Gaza and a stop in fighting.
While there are some clear non-starters in Hamas's response, we do think it creates space for agreement to be reached.
The Hamas plan has 3 45-day-long phases. It includes the release of hostages held in Gaza in exchange for Palestinian prisoners in Israel, a massive humanitarian effort, the ability for Palestinians to move freely throughout Gaza, and the withdrawal of Israeli troops.
Surrendering to the Hamas unbelievable demands will only ask for another disaster.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been adamant that the war will not end until there is, quote, complete victory over Hamas.
I told Blinken today that after we destroy Hamas, we will secure that Gaza is a safe area.
Israel's offensive in Gaza, which was launched after the deadly Hamas attack on Israel exactly 4 months ago, has led to a humanitarian crisis, with tens of thousands of Palestinians dead and others pouring into the Rafah area as food, water, shelter, and medicine shortages increase. Satellite images showing a previously open area in Rafah now filled with a makeshift tent city, estimated to hold more than 1 million displaced citizens. I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Floridians feeling moved this morning after a manatee release. 5 rescued manatees are recovered and ready to go back to the ocean. Workers and volunteers said goodbyes to the manatees at Blue Springs State Park yesterday. The manatees were released only a day after Governor Ron DeSantis visited the park and emphasized prioritizing funds for manatee rescue.
Kaseya Center welcomed Rookie of the Year candidate Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs as the Miami Heat looked for their second straight win. Kaplan News reporter Anthony Milian gives us a closer look at yesterday's courtside clash.
Miami Heat take on the San Antonio Spurs in a mid-season matchup that sees first overall pick Victor Wembanyama come to Miami in the Kaseya Center for the first time. Fans of both sides are interested to see what the young prospect has to offer.
The Kaseya Center was packed to the brim last night with Heat and Spurs fans as always, but also fans there just to see Victor Wembanyama.
I mean, I watched him before, like he came to the NBA in the Metropolitan, whatever the French team he was playing for. And like obviously like everybody knows he's a freak, he's a unicorn. So like I just watched him play and I was like, bro, this guy's gonna be crazy.
Heat fans were loud as always as they made sure Victor Wembanyama's first night in Miami wasn't a welcome one. The Heat, who have struggled as of late, are trying to make it back to the finals just like they did last year. However, fans are keeping their faith and hopes high.
For sure, it's tougher, but I have faith in this team. I've learned not to give up on them.
With a triple-double from Jimmy Butler and 20 points from Bam Adebayo, the Heat were able to escape with the win 116-104. The Heat play their rival Boston Celtics on Saturday at the Kaseya Center.
With the win tonight, the Miami Heat stand at the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, putting them in a solid spot right before the All-Star break. With Kaplan News, I'm Anthony Milian.
Golf fans are excited today as golf legend Tiger Woods is making a comeback. Woods will debut his 2024 tour season at the Genesis Invitational in California. The pro golfer shared his excitement on social media. Woods' last scheduled PGA Tour event was last year's Masters, but a foot injury kept him away from the tournament. He will host the event from February 15th to February 18th at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades.
Superstar sensation Usher announces big plans after his Super Bowl halftime show, and it involves South Florida.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Massively competitive playing field when it comes to advertising because everyone's showcasing their best spots.
Speaking of the Super Bowl, we have more on what it takes to make a great commercial for the big game. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Super spots, probably the most important 30 seconds a company will invest in, but how do you know if you made the most of it? For Super Bowl 58, fans across the country are preparing to tune into the game and commercial breaks.
CNN's Jen Sullivan looks into how companies are under pressure to grab consumer attention for the price of millions this Sunday.
Some people watch the Super Bowl for the game, others for the commercials. But unlike the players, these companies have seconds to grab our attention.
It's a massively competitive playing field when it comes to advertising because everyone's showcasing their best spots.
Kellogg marketing professor Derek Rucker says companies are shelling out $7 million this year for a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl.
It's a costly investment.
So how do you make sure you get a return on that investment? Some commercials make us laugh.
Help! You can't touch this.
While others pull at our heartstrings.
Hey Google, show me photos of me and Loretta.
If you introduce a problem for which your brand is the solution, that can be very powerful.
Rucker says some companies will use jingles.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Or celebrities.
Nationwide's there to protect.
Maybe leave the songs to me.
To grab our attention. But it's important that consumers still remember the product and not just the ad itself. Then there's the companies that simply have an iconic image that represents their brand. Like Anheuser-Busch. For Budweiser, the Clydesdales may be just as recognizable as their beer.
I think they resonate with people so much because they're not only this amazing brand symbol of strength and determination and quality, but they're also just so captivating.
Anheuser-Busch releasing one of their ads early this year.
Let's go!
Telling CNN they hope this ad is a nod to their long history with the big game. So no matter which team gets to hoist the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday, these companies are hoping they're winners too. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Listeners are saying OMG this morning after Usher announced that he is back on the road for another tour. Singer-songwriter is set to go on tour this August, coming after his performance at Super Bowl 58 this Sunday. The tour will begin in Washington, D.C. and will end in Chicago. Among the cities included are Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Miami. Pre-sale tickets go up on Wednesday, with Usher's 9th album, Coming Home, coming out on Friday.
Well, that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Kenneth Bueno.
I'm Laura Palfrey. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.